is a secluded part of the Appalachian Mountains, known for its beautiful yet eerie landscapes. In the early 20th century, a small mining town thrived there until a tragic cave-in killed dozens of miners. The town was abandoned, and Iron Ridge became a ghost town. In 2008, a group of friends decided to explore the abandoned town. Among them was a local history buff named Mark, who had heard rumors about ghostly apparitions. They arrived in the late afternoon and began exploring the dilapidated buildings and rusting mining equipment. As dusk settled, the atmosphere grew heavy and oppressive. Mark, armed with a flashlight and camera, suggested they visit the old mine entrance. The entrance was sealed off, but the group could feel the cold air emanating from within. As they stood there, they heard faint, rhythmic tapping sounds, as if someone was hammering deep inside the mine. "Do you hear that?" Mark asked, his voice trembling. The tapping grew louder, followed by faint voices calling for help. The friends exchanged fearful glances, unsure of what to do. Suddenly, Mark's flashlight flickered, and in its beam, they saw ghostly figures of miners with soot-covered faces and hollow eyes. The apparition of a man in old mining gear stepped forward, his eyes fixed on Mark. "Help us," he whispered. The group turned and fled, not stopping until they were back at their car. The next day, Mark researched the mine and discovered that the tapping and voices were a common occurrence, often heard by those brave enough to visit Iron Ridge at night. Blackwood Forest is a dense, dark expanse in the heart of the Appalachian Mountains. The forest is known for its thick canopy that blocks out sunlight even during the day. Locals speak of a wailing woman who roams the forest at night, a spirit of a mother searching for her lost child. In 2013, a young couple, Emily and Jack, decided to go camping in Blackwood Forest. They set up their tent near a small clearing, unaware of the legend. As night fell, they built a campfire and settled in. Around midnight, they heard a soft, mournful cry echoing through the trees. "Did you hear that?" Emily asked, her voice shaking. Jack nodded, trying to listen. The cry grew louder, more desperate, and seemed to be coming closer. Suddenly, they saw a pale, ghostly figure of a woman in a long, tattered dress. Her face contorted in sorrow, she moved slowly through the forest, calling out for her child. "Who are you?" Jack called out, but the woman didn't respond. Instead, she disappeared into the darkness, her wails fading away. Terrified, the couple decided to leave immediately. As they packed up, they heard the wailing again, this time right behind them. They ran to their car, and as they drove away, Emily looked back and saw the woman standing at the edge of the forest, watching them. The couple never returned to Blackwood Forest, and the legend of the wailing woman lived on, warning others to stay away. In the Appalachian Mountains, there's a stretch of road known for its winding curves and steep cliffs. It's a dangerous route, especially at night, and many accidents have occurred there. One night in 2015, a truck driver named Sam was making his way through this treacherous pass when he saw a young woman standing by the roadside, thumbing for a ride. Feeling pity for her, Sam pulled over and offered her a lift. She was pale, with long dark hair, and dressed in old-fashioned clothes. She quietly climbed into the passenger seat and gave him an address further up the mountain. As they drove, Sam tried to make conversation, but the woman remained silent, staring straight ahead. A sense of unease settled over him, but he continued driving. When they reached the address, the woman suddenly vanished from the seat. Stunned, Sam pulled over and checked the area, but there was no sign of her. The next day, he mentioned the incident to a local at a diner. The man looked at him with wide eyes and said, "You saw the phantom hitchhiker? She was killed in a car crash on that road years ago, and now she haunts the pass, looking for a ride home." Sam was shaken, but thankful that he had survived the encounter. The story of the phantom hitchhiker continues to be told, a warning to travelers about the ghostly presence on that dangerous stretch of road. Widow's Peak is a rocky outcrop in the Appalachian Mountains, named for the legend of a woman who cursed the land after losing her husband to a tragic fall. It is said that anyone who ventures too close to the edge is doomed to the same fate. In 2018, a group of college students decided to hike to Widow's Peak, curious about the legend. Among them was Mia, who was skeptical of the curse. They reached the peak just as the sun was setting, casting an eerie glow over the landscape. As they approached the edge, they heard a faint whispering, like the wind carrying a voice. "Can you hear that?" one of the students asked nervously. Mia rolled her eyes. "It's just the wind," she said, stepping closer to the edge. Suddenly, the ground beneath her gave way and she fell, screaming. The group rushed to help, but Mia was gone, vanished into the abyss below. Shocked and terrified, the students reported the incident to the authorities. A search team was dispatched, but no trace of Mia was ever found. The remaining students were haunted by the memory, convinced that the curse of Widow's Peak had claimed another victim. The story of Widow's Peak serves as a grim reminder of the dangers lurking in the Appalachian Mountains, and the locals continue to warn visitors to stay away from the cursed outcrop. Oak Ridge Cemetery, nestled in a remote part of the Appalachian Mountains, is one of the oldest graveyards in the region. It is known for its weathered headstones and eerie atmosphere. Many locals believe the cemetery is haunted by the spirits of those buried there, including a particularly malevolent spirit known as the Black Widow. In 2019, paranormal investigators Sarah and James decided to spend the night in Oak Ridge Cemetery. They set up their equipment near an old mausoleum reputed to be the Black Widow's final resting place. As darkness fell, they began their investigation, asking questions and recording audio. Around midnight, their equipment picked up strange readings, and they heard faint whispers in the air. Suddenly, the temperature dropped, and they saw a shadowy figure moving among the graves. The figure, a woman in a black dress, appeared to be searching for something. "Who are you?" Sarah called out, but the figure did not respond. Instead, it turned towards them, revealing hollow, empty eyes. The air grew thick, and Sarah and James felt a suffocating pressure, as if the spirit was trying to choke them. Desperate, they backed away. But the Black Widow followed, her eyes locked on them. They ran towards their car, feeling the cold grip of the spirit at their backs. As they sped away, they looked back and saw the Black Widow standing at the cemetery gate, her eyes glowing with anger. The experience left Sarah and James shaken, but they managed to capture compelling evidence of the haunting. They shared their story, warning others about the vengeful spirit of Oak Ridge Cemetery. The legend of the Black Widow continues to be a chilling reminder of the supernatural presence in the Appalachian Mountains.